from folks after the convocation of things that I could improve upon. And the main one was really interesting is I didn't introduce myself in the fall, so I want to do that. My name is Gary Aguilar. I'm a faculty member in design technology, and I'm currently the Academic Senate President. And I guess that's why the Academic Senate President part is why I'm up here. I'm so excited to have this time with you this morning and walk you through, get you through the convocation. We're going to have some items that are things that you come to expect and we actually want as part of our culture, awards, the announcement of new employees, presentations, but you may see towards the end a notable difference that I wanted to share is that Chancellor King and the district folks will not be with us today. He's going to ask what the response was. No, there's a special convocation at Sac City this morning, and so him and his group are going to be able to. They're really excited about being able to stay at the whole convocation for Sac City, but they will be back in the fall. And I think they're proposing that maybe each spring they rotate from college to college. So we will have an opportunity to have Chancellor King and the whole group for a whole convocation. So let's go ahead and get started. Start off with introducing Jesus Valle.
Good morning, American River College Convocation. I'd like to say, En Chimin Lios Chaniabu, Itom Keche Malaya, Aman Netevotem Yavinewi. I'm Professor Jesus Valle. I teach in the ARC English Department, and I also direct the Native American Resource Center. The center is located on the second floor of Davies Hall in D229E, and we offer support, tutoring, advising, referral, and a profoundly important sense of belonging and community for our Native American students. It is my pleasure to stand here before you today to introduce the American River College Indigenous Land Statement. The contemporary land statement and acknowledgement movement across this hemisphere represents the voicing of a desire for relationship with the indigenous people of the land in each specific place. Indigenous land and people acknowledgement statements have become widespread best practice in institutions of higher education. The purpose is to provide equity and social justice dialogue between these institutions and our local tribes. This is necessary. The situation for our Native youth continues to be dire, with high dropout rates, high rates of suicide, high rates of targeted direct racism, sport team mascots that demean and mock us as human beings, and many other challenges that our community battles every day to survive and thrive. Yet, survive we do, having endured centuries of a system designed to decimate both the people and the land. At present, every single day in this hemisphere, Native people are sacrificing their well-being, safety, and resources to be the last defenders of clean, unpolluted water for our children, non-toxic air so that we can breathe and be well, soil that is free from chemicals and is good to grow food, and also to keep in mind the living beings such as the salmon who caretake the streams and the rivers. Each living entity has a role in balance. We all depend on the land. This land statement is the start of a larger conversation, both internal and external, for American River College. I would like to thank President Green and his executive staff for their unwavering support of Native American students on this campus. ARC continues to lead in the region. This college right here sits on sacred space, and when we start to think about it in this way, it changes how we perceive the institution, our mission, our relationships with our students, and our relationships with the Native communities who know this land in a reciprocal way. At this moment, I would like to introduce Albert Tittman, my good friend and relative. He is an ARC graduate of whom we are most proud. He will be reading the ARC land statement for this inaugural event. He may also express himself and share a song. Albert is Nisenan, Maidu, and Miwok, and he's a registered addiction specialist through the Brenning Institute of California and a state board certified alcohol and drug abuse counselor. He works at the Sacramento Native American Health Center as an addiction treatment counselor and provides abuse assessment, diagnosis of individuals, couples, families, and groups. In addition to working at SNAC, Albert provides culturally sensitive services and also provides a Native cultural and contextual approach in all of his counseling duties. He also enjoys Miwok traditional ceremonial singing and dancing, as well as spending time with his family, cooking, and he is a grandfather to 12. Please join me in welcoming Albert Tittman.
Majuxis, Kaniasis, Albert Tittman, Dumale Nisanan, Miwok, Maidu, Pit River, Kuchihima, Miwuya. I say welcome and good morning to all my relatives. My name is Albert Tittman. My tribal heritage is Nisanan, Miwok, Maidu, and Pit River heritage. And on my father's side and my mother's side, we're Mexica. I want to offer gratitude to each and every one of you, to my brother Jesus, for giving me the honor to come and to share this land statement with you all. My ancestors existed right here where the rivers flow. We're surrounded by 4 rivers in this region, and my ancestors existed in village sites up and down these rivers. And we say our creation story started here. So what our people believe is that our existence began right here on this campus, where many of us have learned, and also many of you teach many of our relatives that have come through this institution for higher learning. And so I want to offer gratitude to each and every one of you for being here. I know Jesus said we all have to be here, but I know that there are no real have-tos in the world if we all have a choice. And so I want to acknowledge each and every one of you and for allowing us to come here and honor my people. This is very important to us, and there's a history of things that have happened for us to get to this place today. It's part of that healing journey that we're on, and so my people believe that we are on this journey of healing and wellness as human beings first, and acknowledging each other for our beauty, our uniqueness, our gifts, and those things that we bring to the sacred fire. And so with that, I'm going to read the land statement and again offer a song. And so when we sing these songs are really prayers. And many of us believe that the first language to the Creator was a song. The first language is singing. And so this song will call in the ancestors of this land to be here with us today, to sit with us, and to sit with all of you as you, travel throughout the rest of this day together. Aho. American River College Indigenous Land Statement. We acknowledge the land which occupy today as the traditional home of the Maidu and Miwok tribal nations. These sovereign people have been the caretakers of this land since time immemorial. Despite centuries of genocide and occupation, the Maidu and Miwok continue as vibrant and resilient federally recognized tribes and bands. We take this opportunity to acknowledge the generations that have gone before, as well as the present day Maidu and Miwok people. Oh, oh. Oh, yotna ke yotna do do yotna 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 do wana ho yotna do do yotna yotna ke 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 yotna do do yotna do wana yotna do do yotna yotna ke yotna he ha. Oh, wile matakmo. Oh, thank you.
Thank you all very much.
That was very powerful. One of the the great pleasures I have as the Academic Senate President is working with our administration and relationships with faculty and classified, our professional staff. But I really especially enjoy the relationship that I have with Thomas Green, who I'd like to welcome to the stage to do his presentation. Thank you, Thomas.
All right. So can you hear me in the back? Pretty well? Okay. Well, anyway, I just want to welcome you back to the spring. I hope you had a nice break, a chance to re-energize and relax a little bit. I went to Japan to ski, got the flu, and spent most of it in a hotel room. Oh, it's all right. We still skied 9 days. It was pretty good, and the snow was excellent, so it's all right. All right, before we start, make sure that you looked at that picture up there. Let's give a shout out to the women's volleyball team. State champions 2018. Carson and your team did a great job. All right. I was there. It was so much fun. If you have not gone and watched a volleyball, is exciting. It really is. So it was a real highlight to go and watch that tournament. And they did it. It was just amazing. I need to do a public service announcement before we get started, but let me try to do this. Let me read this email, and then I have a couple of questions for you. It's an email that was sent out to the college. Hello, I'm tied up in a meeting right now. Can you purchase iTunes gift cards? 5 pieces, 100 each, right? That would make it a total of $500. I would reimburse you when I'm through here. Let me know. Also, I would prefer to call you, but I can't receive or make calls during this meeting. Best regards, Thomas Green, President, American River College. Yeah. Okay. Now, this is really important, and I think Jeff Bucher would agree with me. Do not respond to these emails. All right? So this is what we want you to do. Instead, deliver your gift cards to me in person. Just stop by the office. Sue goes to lunch around 12:31. That would be great timing, all right? All right. Anyway, somehow my name's got on a list. Be careful moving forward. So we have a lot going on. As Gary mentioned, there's some changes. So the chancellor won't be here at spring, but he's going to rotate in spring and spend the entire convocation with us on that rotating basis in spring. Fall will be what it's always been. But that gives us a little more time, so we have a lot going on. And you get to vote with your feet today about where you want to learn more about all the amazing work that's being done here at the college. And there is a lot going on. So what I want to do today is really just talk a little bit. I'm hoping to can't cover everything, but I want to start with acknowledging some things that have occurred at the college and some observations about that. I have a few updates that I want to share with everyone as well. Certainly, you're going to have an opportunity to learn a lot more just with all the breakout sessions, but there's a few things I want to highlight. And also, with the chancellor not being here, he typically covers the governor's budget proposal for our system. So there's a few points that I want to make and share with you about the governor's proposal. And then lastly, and for me most importantly, I have an update to give you on the progress of our work that I'm really excited to share with all of you. So that's what we're hoping to do in the time that we have here this morning. And so let me start with a few acknowledgments. And I want to begin just by acknowledging something that I think so many of you in the room have been and continue to contend with, which is Assembly Bill 705 and the impact that it's had. This has been a legislative mandate that's been unbelievably disruptive. The intent is good. The timeline, the constraints, and the stress and the strain that it's placed on our departments of English, ESL, math, reading, and our assessment office has been, I would say, beyond unreasonable. Right? So I want you to know that we recognize that. We're here to support you, and we will continue to support you as we move forward with this. And I just want to say the one thing to notice is that despite how unreasonable this is, I am so amazed at the response from the departments. You have responded in the best interest of students, and you've done so with integrity. And I just wanted to say thank you and acknowledge the work that you've done and the work that we will continue to do moving forward. So in November, and we really haven't had a chance to talk about this, but the Camp Fire. And there's so many in our community that were directly impacted by the fire, whether it was their family or their own homes and their loss. And so we want to acknowledge that, but I also wanted to talk a little bit about the closure of the college, because we really haven't. It happened right around Thanksgiving, and then everyone would go into finals, and then we were on break. And the thing I really just wanted to point out about this, there was no playbook for this. We don't have a manual that says, in case there's so much smoke in the community, this is what you do, right? If it happens again, we are going to have a playbook because we're going to pay attention and listen to this. But I did want to acknowledge that and say thank you. To say what you had did and how you responded to make sure that you tried to minimize the negative impact to students with this, the patience when we couldn't always communicate everything at the right time. So we're not perfect. I mean, if you talk to my wife, it's really clear that I'm not perfect. But we learned from this and really do appreciate your recognition of that, your understanding, and your willingness to kind of sit in that space and really try to do what's best for our students. So I wanted to acknowledge that as well. We had some tragedies in the fall. Just the tragic loss of life of Amber Clark at the Natomas Library, and another kind of experience that's outside of our control. But I did want to highlight one thing about this, which was the response from our Natomas community and our Natomas Center, the Educational Center's response. They responded in the moment to ensure the safety of each other and their students in a remarkable way. And after the crisis was over, they came together with compassion and caring to take care of one another and our students and their colleagues at the library. We had our Muslim Student Association go over to the library to offer support. It was amazing to see. And I commend them, and I am so heartened by that, and I am so humbled to be a part of a community that when we can't control the things that come at us, we absolutely can inform and control how we respond to it. And it just says a lot about who we are based on how the community came together to support one another in this tragedy. And guess what? It is going to continue the things that we don't control, right? So over the break, partial shutdown of the federal government happened, or it really just accelerated. But I'm going to tell you something. This has huge impact on all those, the federal employees, those are furloughed, those are working without pay, but it has a direct impact on our work here as well. Federal financial aid will be impacted by this. All of our employees who work in federal grants, who rely on their communication with the program specialists at the Department of Ed, are no longer able to get a hold of most of them. This impact, if it continues, so I want to recognize that as well and know that this will have a direct impact on us. And so I bring these up. The reason I wanted to acknowledge all of these things is this is going to continue. There is disruptive change in our future. It's happening on a more regular basis. And the thing is, we can't always control this. But the one consistent theme that continues to come up in my observations is how this community responds to these challenges. I am so amazed by when folks come together with integrity, with compassion, and in the best interest of students, we will continue to be able to navigate these things in a way. So that to me was really important to share with all of you. And I want to give yourselves a round of applause because things like this define a community. And I'll tell you what, this is an amazing community to be a part of, and I am so appreciative of all of you. So please give yourselves a round of applause. So I wanted to talk a little bit about updates, and I wanted to start with this area that oftentimes people feel, another area where you often don't have control, or don't feel that you can affect change, particularly if you live in Davies Hall, and that's facilities. So it is hard. You're in, and often, and I'm the first to admit, we have some facilities that are absolutely substandard, and it feels like things will never change. So I wanted to share an update on the new construction, but do in a way that recognizes, and maybe a little, and hopefully with a little catharsis. So take a look at this. Things do change. Not as fast as we want, but they do change. Now, here's the other thing. I actually tried to sell tickets and give everyone a chance on the Sledgehammer. Yeah, but legal wouldn't let me. So talk to JP. It's his fault. Anyway, really just a lot going on with facilities, so I wanted to highlight a few things. So that's just new construction. But there are a lot of internal moves and changes taking place as well. As we start redesigning, continue to redesign this institution, we have to move around and redeploy one of our scarcest resources with our facilities. So there are changes. So last fall I talked to you about, we're renaming the Student Services Building to the Welcome and Support Center. We've already moved E-Services, which was over there, into that building in the Connect Center. So let me repeat that. The E-Services is now in the Connect Center in what will be the Welcome and Support Center when the signs go up on the new building next week. So once you do that, now all of a sudden you have a building that's open over here, right? Well, that's where the brand new Comprehensive Wellness Center for our students is going to be created. Yep. And you'll have a chance to learn more about that today, right? So you can ask some questions about what that's going to be. So we're also doing some other things. We're making changes in the administration building where business services and admission and records are going to come together under one service counter, right? To make that more seamless experience for our students. That opens up that space. So you can see there's these dominoes that take place. Where's Cheryl? All right, Cheryl. You have like 13 projects right now, don't you, of things like that. And I'm going to tell you something. This is some of the hardest work that we do, because when we do, there's this sense of displacement with this, right? We don't have empty space, so someone moves into other things. And I'll tell you, the folks that have been involved in that, I really appreciate your openness to having the conversation, to understand, to listen to what your interests are and how we do that and navigate some of the hardest work that we do, but it's critically important. So I just wanted to acknowledge all those folks that have had those conversations, that are in those conversations, or soon will be in those conversations. And now here's the other thing. I'm sure you're asking, okay, is that me? Are they coming for me next? Talk to Cheryl. She's got all the answers. All right. So, and then I wanted to talk to you. I'm really excited to share something else with you. And going back to the STEM building, when we built this building, we launched a capital campaign that said we're going to raise $3.5 million to make this the best possible learning environment that we can, kind of bring that margin of excellence to it. And it's a 5-year campaign, and the first year is really about planning. And we really don't fundraise. So we're in our second year. We started fundraising for about a year, and I'm really excited to share with you that we've hit a pretty significant milestone recently. We've raised over $1 million toward the $3.5 million, the most we've raised in a campaign at this institution in its history. So it is an amazing milestone. And it's fun work. And here's why it's so fun for me, is that, well, first of all, Kirsten does all the heavy lifting, so that's fun. But the best part of this is the generosity that's coming and where it's coming from. So much of the support we're receiving for the campaign, it's coming from our own community. our retirees. So a lead gift came from my predecessor, the president of this college, right? Marie Smith. I'm blanking on names, so I had to look to Kirsten. Marie put a lead gift, and she's also co-chairing the campaign cabinet with just one of the most phenomenal people in our community, John Frisch. And then we have Sue Lorimer and her husband, Bob Bruins, made a significant donation as well. Joan Brentsley Jackson, the Evangelistes, others coming together. And there are so many other people in this room who have given and given generously to this campaign. It is so heartening to see. So that's really exciting. Our alums are coming out of the woodwork to say, we had a great experience at ARC, and that we'd like to support it and open doors for you. And the business community is really, the story is resonating with them. And so that's really exciting. I want to give you an update. So we're on target, I think, to hit our goal. And the other thing I wanted to say, we've had some amazing leadership on this with Kirsten and Deborah, and the collaboration with our district office has been amazing. And there is someone from the district office here. They didn't come. Paula Allison, who's the Associate Vice Chancellor, oversees the District Foundation, is here as well. So thank you very much for your collaboration. Really exciting. You all thought I was going to make a plug, didn't you? And ask you for money. I didn't do that, just so you know. All right. I want to talk about the governor's budget proposal briefly and give you some highlights. So Governor Newsom came out with his budget proposal for the state, and I want to focus on the community college system. Overall, I would say the headline, pretty good news for us, generally speaking. One, 3.46% COLA is being proposed, which you will feel that impact next fall if that goes through, which is really good news. California Promise Program, first year free, AB 19, the governor's proposing a second year. So 2 years community college free, right? And that has a lot of support for it. So I'd be shocked if that doesn't go through. $121 million for the expansion of Cal Grants for our students. That's a significant investment in Cal Grants. So our students are going to feel that as well, which is really exciting as well. So the governor is, many of you may have heard this term of cradle to career. So the governor is very focused on the entire educational pathway, all the way from preschool through post-secondary education. So you'll see continued investments in that. Three other things as well. Facilities, $358 million for new community college projects, facilities projects, and modernizations. And I have some good news, and I have some bad news. So let me start with the bad news first. The bad news is we've had a project at the top of the queue for quite a while, and that is the expansion of our Natoma Center, Phase 2 and 3. And that did not get on the list this year, so we'll continue to advocate for that. But we actually did have a project get on the list, and that is our technical education building was listed in the governor's proposal for moving forward. So we have the funding from the state to support that project, so that is good news. There are very few projects that got on the list this year. That's one of them. And then STRS, the retirement obligation, the liability reduction, the governor's proposing $3 billion to reduce that. How that helps us is that's less that the district needs to invest to pay into that, which is more resources for our students as well. So that actually, folks are really happy about that. And then, not a lot of money, but I did want to mention one other thing, a longitudinal student data system. So for you data walks out there, I know you're excited. But this is our ability to track students all the way through their educational experience, beginning in preschool, all the way through post-secondary education, so we can understand that experience better for the changes we make to support their success. So that's something that has been overdue in this state. Other states have it, and so the governor's proposing that. That's a good thing for us as well. So overall, I would say the budget's pretty good. We will be advocating over the next few months to get Natomas on that list, so we'll keep our fingers crossed as we move forward. But good news overall. So this is the part I really wanted to share with you, is progress on our work. And we have been working extremely hard, and in the fall of this year, I said we're going to start shifting our focus. We'll continue to talk and invest in the kind of building capacity to make the changes of redesigning this institution, but we're also going to start incorporating the impact of that work on our students. So I'm going to share both of those things today with you. And let me start by just talking about, this is our new governance structure, and the reason I want to start there is because that's the way in which we're conducting all this work, right? This is how we're approaching it. And I'll tell you, here's some observations. This new governance process, it's starting to work. I'm seeing signs of its effectiveness. For those of you who aren't familiar with it, we basically I won't go through the whole process, but we got rid of our the standing committees, the 13 standing committees at the college. We created an executive leadership team that's comprised of all of our constituency groups. They support and help facilitate 3 councils at the college. Those councils also are well represented by all the constituency groups. Each of those councils sponsor project teams. Those teams come together with a specific purpose for a specific amount of time to achieve a specific well-defined task, and then they dissolve and go away. So we meet when we need to meet to do the work that we need to do, and then we don't continue to if we don't need to. So those project team idea, we have a number of project teams, and today, a big bulk of today is your opportunity to walk around and get an update as to the work that they're doing. So one of the things I say it's working is wait till you see the work that they're doing. It is amazing, the outcomes from those teams, and so that's really encouraging as well. And the other thing that I would share with you is not really coming from our own college, but what I'm seeing broader within the district, is that we're moving forward in a way where the pace of change, the level of disruption, much of which I mentioned to you, is straining our systems of how we've always approached our work within the district. The way we've approached our work has been good. We've always worked well together with our sister colleges. There's been a healthy competition. But the changing landscape puts us in a situation where it's not about incremental change. It's disruptive change, and we're built for the former, not the latter. And what we need is we need systems, both here in working internally, that isn't so much about facilitating buy-in. We're not trying to sell something or facilitate buy-in. We actually need a system that helps us co-create, to authentically collaborate in the design of solutions to really thorny problems. And I'm going to tell you something, this design here actually is a framework that I think is going to really help us do that. And I'm starting to see the signs of that, so it's really exciting. So just a brief update on governance. You'll hear more about that because I think we're going to take a really deep examination of how we approach our work district-wide in the months to come. But here are the project teams, and I'm not going to talk too much about them because this is really what the day's about. You get it, but I want to give you some teasers. ARC Online 2.0, if you want to learn more about a proposal that we submitted to the district called the Los Rios Online Education Consortium, about how we might collaborate across the district in a really amazing vision for online ed, make sure you stop by their table and talk to them about that. If you want to know about integrated planning improvement, well, you all have a training on unit planning in the second half of this morning, but you asked for a new program review process. You asked to get rid of the EMP, and you asked for things to be integrated. Be careful what you ask for because you now have it, and they are going to show that to you today. You have Wellness Center. I talked about that. That's going to be built, I would say, and I'm confident in saying a year from now, we are going to have a comprehensive wellness center at this campus for our students, providing not only preventative health, mental health services, educational services. In a year from now, we will have that in a way, in a service delivery that we've never had before, and that's really exciting work. Our facilities master plan, and I touched on facilities, but there's a whole team that's envisioning the future of this campus now, and right out this door, they have a ton of information so you can see what the future looks like, and it's really exciting, including Davies Hall, or a new one, so I think anyone in Davies might want to stop by and look at that. And here's one, our scheduling solution, enterprise-level scheduling solution. And I'll tell you, this is one that maybe not everybody knows about or the implications, but this is big. This is a tool that is going to allow us to better understand and help us develop and deliver a schedule that's centered on the needs of our students in a way that we were unable to do before. So that's important for you to recognize. This is going to come with some changes of how we schedule, and so it's important to be familiar with that. So I encourage you to take a look. Clarify Program Pass, Bill Simpson and his team. So Bill gave a presentation last fall, and as a consequence of that, he's been extremely busy, or even busier, because of your amazing response to the program maps and the work that you're doing. So that's continuing. And one anecdotal thing, just to tell you the amazing amount of work that they're doing and the quality of it, is they built these maps, and next thing we know, some of the other colleges saying, this is exactly what we need, and adopted our map framework to use at the other colleges. So kudos to Bill and his team, great work. And then our institutional equity plan. How many of you participated in a listening session that was facilitated by the project team this semester? Okay, I see a bunch of hands in the room, okay, good. So appreciate that. They have been gathering a lot of information about how to develop an internal plan to support and to move us forward to make good on our commitment to social justice and equity. And so you can learn about that today in their presentation. I think it's really important. But the one thing I wanted to point out about that one of the most consistent themes coming out of this is an interest and a need for an institutional professional development. Folks are saying, I'm committed to this, but I need training, I need support, I need development, both for my own work as an individual, but in my role here at the college. And so we're hearing that. We are committed to providing that level of support at this institution to achieve that commitment that to achieve our commitment to social justice and equity. And so that will be coming as well. And so as you see, institutional professional development is one of our future project teams, along with sustainability, the educational master plan, and strategic enrollment management. So there is a lot going on at this institution. And so much of that is focused on building the capacity, right, for large-scale institutional change. That's what we've been talking about. But now we're shifting the conversation, not about talking about capacity, but talking about impact. And I wanted to start about talking about the early impact of our work in fundamentally changing at scale our students' experience. So I want to talk a little bit about the Achieve program to start with. And Achieve, for those of you who aren't familiar with it, is really, in the simplest way I could describe it, is creating a fundamentally different way to support the earliest experiences of our students, the newly entering students. So when they come on, they have a smoother early experience in terms of getting through the steps to get in. That they are a strong sense of connection early on and a sense of direction and support during their earliest tenure with our college, generally speaking. So here I wanted to share some of the early outcomes and talk a little bit about those. So the first thing we did is we wanted to look at the first time in college students this fall. So pretty much if you look at it, those that participated in the Achieve program, over 1,000 students were in the Achieve program versus about 2,500, 2,600 were not. So collectively, that's our first time in college students. So about roughly 25%, maybe a little bit more, were in the Achieve program. If you look in terms of some of the student demographics, somewhat similar. Actually, some of our disproportionately impacted student populations are slightly overrepresented in the Achieve program versus not in the Achieve program. So we're really looking to see, are we comparing apples to apples? It's one of the first questions we asked. Then we also looked at, in the Achieve program, what were the comparisons in terms of where the students placed? Okay, so in English, for the non-Achieve cohort, about 98% under the new kind of placement rules, right? Almost all students were placed into transfer level, one level below or transfer level English, and about 25% placed into transfer level math. With the Achieve cohort, it was very similar in terms of English, almost all the students again, that would be expected, and then it's slightly higher, about 33% placed into transfer level math. So we've got some differences, but generally speaking, we have some similar groups. And so then we started to look in terms of outcomes, and so we started by looking at first term course success rates. So for the non-Achieve cohort, the course success rate for all newly entering students was about 64%. For two of the largest of our disproportionately impacted groups, our African American students and our Hispanic Latino students, that course success rate was 48 and 58. And here are the numbers for the Achieve cohort. So there's something happening here. Those Achieve students are having higher success in their courses. So it's about, a 7% increase for all new students. We see almost a 19% increase for our African American students and a 7% increase for our Hispanic Latino students. We looked at completion of 15 units during their first term. It's about 6% for the entire non-Achieve cohort and 5% for African American, Hispanic Latino students. In the Achieve cohort, it was 16% and 12 and 13%. Then we looked at persistence. There's a caveat here. They actually pulled the data like 2 days ago because students are still enrolling in spring. So you have to recognize this is incomplete, but we were trying just to give you kind of a snapshot of where we are. Overall, persistence for the non-Achieve cohort was 63%, 52%, and 58%. For Achieve, 80% pretty much across the board. So I want to say just a couple of things about this. We're going to continue to kind of look at that data and understand. We're trying to compare apples to apples, but we're sure there's probably some differences, right? So but there's enough here for us to pay attention to. Something's happening here that matters, that's significant. So we're going to continue to look at that data, but I'm telling you something, there's something is happening in this work that's encouraging. And I just want to say, there are so many people who have been involved in this, and I want to say thank you to all of those, particularly our counselors. I mean, case managing a large group is different than what we've done before. There's a leap of faith in that work, and I want to say thank you for taking that leap of faith. Thank you for your hard work. Sonia, thank you for your leadership. Joshua, thank you for your leadership as well. We have a lot to look forward to as we move forward. You should be really excited about these results, really excited. So I wanted to share with you one other look that we took at a redesign that took place within this institution recently, and that is how we place students in English and then the curricular interventions that were created to support those students, okay? So that's what we're looking at. So first, what I want to show you is, here's what we're looking at. Last year in fall of 17, okay, we looked at the students who were placed in transfer level English writing, okay, and then enrolled in it during their first term. So they were placed, in fall of 17, they were placed using a standardized assessment into transfer level English writing, and then they enrolled in it, and that would account for 522 students who did that. And these are first-time students, because it's in their first term, right? First-time students who did this. And of that, 372 were successful. Then they went in, they made the changes within the English writing, and this is the results in fall of 18. 1,293 students, brand new students enrolled during their first term, 853 were successful. That is 481 additional students, right, first-time students, have successfully achieved their transfer level English during their first term. This is huge. This is seismic in terms of the changes. I don't even know how to describe to you the impact this has. We see all of a sudden now that there's significant increases in second-term comp courses within English. We're starting to see the reverberation in other areas of the institution. And right now, we're trying to figure out if there's some anomaly in the college-wide enrollment numbers for spring, because there's this weird spike that we're trying to figure out, and we're not sure where it's coming from. So that actually, we're looking at that. This is huge in terms of the change in our students' experience. So then we looked at it, and we looked at two of our largest disproportionately impacted populations, same thing. So 27 students, African-American students, placed, this is in fall of 17, into transfer-level English writing and then enrolled in it, and 18 were successful. In fall of 18, that number went from 89 to 52, which is a 32 students. That's a 188% increase, okay? We did the same for our Hispanic Latino students, 110 and 68, 427 and 264. So almost 200 additional students completed. That's almost a 300% increase. I can't tell you, I mean, it's hard for me to put in the words the degree of the impact this is going to have. For us to say that you can't make significant, large-scale changes in the outcomes of our students by redesigning the institution, there is evidence here that would argue that point to say we absolutely can. And so I'm going to end here. And this is, I went back through my old convocation presentations, and I can't tell you how many times that I see in my notes that I said, if you remember calling this, is that I shared with you that institutions are perfectly designed to achieve the results they get year in and year out. Do you remember me saying that? And that if we wanted to significantly improve the outcomes of all students at the college, it wasn't about one initiative or program, but we'd have to go in and fundamentally re-architect the institution or redesign it. Well, we have started that work. We are invested in that work. We've planted those seeds, right? We're cultivating the land. We're watering those seeds. They're starting to grow and germinate, and we're starting to see the signs of that change. This is extremely encouraging. And I'll tell you, we have committed ourselves to this vision, to transform the future of all students in our community through inclusive, equitable education. And I'm telling you, we're starting to move forward. We're starting to take the steps to achieve that vision. And I'll tell you, the English department, kudos to you, to achieve, and everyone, it's amazing work and everything that you're all doing. Have a phenomenal spring. And thanks for allowing me to share a few thoughts with you this morning.
All right, now we get to do awards. Our first award is the ITAP Award presentation, and I'll call to the stage Kathleen Cronin. Oh, there she is.
Thank you, Gary and President Green. And good morning, colleagues, and welcome to the spring 2019 semester. And I wanted to just thank everyone for all the work you do for promoting student success. So once again, it's my honor to present the International Teachers Assistance Award, also known as ITAP, to a deserving faculty member. And my name is Kathleen Cronin. I'm the Learning Disabilities Coordinator in the Disability Services and Programs for Students Department. We also did a little adjustment to our name, kept the same acronym. Yeah. So let me just give you some background on the award. This award was originally created by American River College's math professors Walter Deckert and Andrew Halseth, and is given on behalf of our students in the Disability Services and Programs for Students Department. The honoree, who is selected after student voting has taken place, receives a plaque, a name and a year recognition plaque on our Wall of Honor in DSPS, as well as a personal $200 stipend. The ITAP Award really embodies the spirit of dedicated teaching from a student perspective. Our ITAP recipient, who's a former English department chair, who has imparted her love of English writing to students for more than 25 years, truly possesses the characteristics of a knowledgeable, caring, and passionate professor. I have personally had the opportunity and pleasure to collaborate with her on 2 Flex activities, and was impressed with her desire and commitment to allow all students to succeed. Her students reported to me the following high praise. She is always willing to help you become a better writer by being available and approachable. She really cares about her students and provides good feedback on writing tips and techniques. She is genuinely interested in choosing interesting topics to stimulate our minds, which helps make the writing process come alive. She provides us with a variety of literature and novels in order to assist with our development of analysis and critical thinking skills. She is an amazing resource and is always seeking out ways to connect us to tutoring and DSPS learning disability services, to name a few. English, especially writing, has always been challenging for me, and my instructor made it less painful and actually fun. So those are just a few of the words of praise I received, but you can kind of get a sense of this individual. So on that note, without further ado, I am pleased and honored to present the ITAP Award to our recipient, an outstanding English professor, Kathleen O'Brien.
Thank you very much, Kathleen. And this almost makes up for having to spend my birthday at Convocation. I've been teaching actually for 27 years now, first teaching award. So I really appreciate it because it comes from the students. And I want to say I've taught a lot of places throughout my career, and I really love American River College the best because of our awesome students, but also because of the support services here, which is better than anywhere else I have taught at. So I want to give a special shout out to RAD and WAC, who both programs make our jobs possible, and also DSPS for their great services to our students. So thank you very much.
Thank you, and congratulations again, Kathleen.
The next award is the Ken Diebert Award and Honorarium for part-time faculty. And I want to take just a second and explain a little bit about this award. Ken Diebert, first of all, it's not a memorial award. Ken Diebert is still with us. Wasn't able to make it today. But Ken's a colleague of mine in design technology. He's retired now. But Ken was a longtime Senate member in the Academic Senate. And one thing you could always count on for Ken is he was always representing adjunct faculty specifically, besides his area that he represented. And he always, every time we talked about awards for faculty, he always requested that we do something like this. And when we had it set up, it made sense to name it after Ken. So present the award is the Selection Committee Chair and Academic Senate Secretary, Janae Levering.
Hello. Most of you probably don't know me. Gary introduced me, but I'll introduce myself again. I'm Janae Levering. I'm the Academic Senate Secretary and Chair of the Award Committee. The reason I am up here today is because I am not Ken Diebert, and he could not be here today, but I'm very excited to give this award. I was an adjunct here for 8 years before I was hired full-time in 2013. I think that I was nominated for this award one time. And didn't get it. Okay, I see some nods over there from English. Thank you, thank you. So I'm extra excited today because the winner of this award is from English, and I know that English adjuncts have been doing extra work lately, having to teach new classes, being worried that they won't be able to teach in the English department. That's one of those rumors that's out there, right? Not true. This particular person, when I saw that he was nominated, I was excited too because I've worked with this person. I know that he goes above and beyond. Just last night, he helped me out with something, and I was thinking this morning, oh, I'm glad he's getting the award because I couldn't do what he told me I could do, and I can ask him about it again after he gets the award. He teaches lots of other places, but he gives a lot of energy to American River College, doing committee work and doing flex presentations, things that a lot of adjuncts don't do. So I'm happy to present this award, though I don't have an award to present. I also want to thank the Office of Philanthropy for providing the honorarium for this award. Paul Knox, could you please come up here? I will figure out where this award is. Right now, you get a handshake from me. Thank you.
When I found out about this award, I was threatened that I would have to give a speech. So I asked my daughter, Auden, what I should say, and she said to say thank you, to say that I was happy, and all of this gelled really well with Janae's recommendation that these acceptance speeches are best when they are short. So, to the department and to the faculty who nominated me, thank you. To the college, thank you for recognizing part-timers and all the work we do. I am enormously happy. Thank you.
The next award is the Patrons Award, and we'll have Ellen Reed present that. Ellen?
All right. Good morning. It's a pleasure to be with you today and to announce the winner of the American River College Patrons Chair Award with its $1,500 honorarium. Since 1962, the American River College Patrons Club has recognized outstanding faculty members. Based on a rigorous nomination process.
Sorry. Whoops. That's okay. Don't push the buttons. Oh, I'm not pushing. Don't push the buttons.
No buttons, okay. Since 1962, the American River College Patrons Club has recognized outstanding faculty members based on a rigorous nomination process that seeks input from students, colleagues, and the community. This year's Patrons Award comes with a long list of reasons why the honor is well-deserved, including our recipients' 30 years of passionate teaching at ARC, glowing personal and professional attributes, meaningful involvement in the community, and numerous recommendations from colleagues and students. Each morning, students line up in the hallway for office hour visits with our recipient. Even former students who say they've been changed by the new ways of thinking they've learned under such engaging tutelage. Colleagues describe our recipient as having unmatched knowledge in the field, ahead of the cutting edge. One said, a current buzzword in our discipline is inquiry-based learning. This instructor has been teaching this way long before it became fashionable. A former colleague described the individual as a master teacher. We shared many students, and I continually heard from them that this is one of the best instructors they have ever had. Often these comments came from returning students visiting ARC after transferring to four-year colleges. One such student, a fourth-year medical student at the UC Davis School of Medicine, said, "I am extremely grateful for having attended this professor's course. It helped mold me into the academic student I am today and provided a blueprint for the professor I someday hope to become." Our recipient understands that inspiration can also be environmentally encouraged and was instrumental in the department building redesign that put students and instructors in close proximity for greater accessibility and a student-centered learning environment. Students have benefited from this, as well as our recipients' unique approach to teaching. One had this to say, "Within the first 10 minutes of day one in class, it was made abundantly clear that this would be unlike anything I've experienced at college. We are all enriched beyond the course content, having gained valuable insight and understanding we can carry throughout our lives." Our recipient has also received ample praise for promoting collegial relationships with colleagues and staff, habitually going above and beyond to be present for the colleagues in important times in their lives, as well as being thoughtful in small things. One colleague noted, "We share the same lab. This individual is considerate and conscientious about leaving the room clean and organized, even placing all the stools so that each row has the same number of stools and each stool is the same distance apart. I mean, every time." This is one of the most compassionate and generous people I know, the first to step in and help in any situation, possessing the energy of 10 people. Students appreciate the caring aspect of our recipient as well. One said, "Not only was this person an excellent teacher, but also cared deeply about students, really trying to accommodate, while also maintaining professionalism whenever there were personal hardships in students' lives." Our recipient is known as a campus resource, or as one colleague put it, an institutional memory of the campus and education-related legislation. This impressive level of involvement includes 3 terms as department chair, group leader for accreditation teams, lead person in the department for EMP and program review, regular member of hiring and evaluation committees, organizer of Fun Flex activities, Mesa Center volunteer, and STEM student mentor. A student noted, under this professor's mentorship, I became passionate about science and teaching. It set me on my successful professional path. I can say with confidence that I would not be where I am today without this strong and unwavering mentorship. Outside the classroom, our recipient mentors at Women in STEM, advocates for underserved students in STEM, contributes to conferences, collaborates with faculty statewide on literacy initiatives and reading apprenticeship programs, authors important grants, is the recipient of Sacramento State's Sigma Z Outstanding Science Teacher Award, and even volunteers at ARC track meets and football games. A former student said that our recipient embodies what it means to be a great professor, a great person, and one who makes ARC a better place. A colleague further noted, all of her participation enhances ARC's chemistry program and services to our students. She is a leader, mentor, teacher, and friend. This is exactly what the Patrons Award is all about. And so we are so proud to announce our recipient, chemistry professor and Science Skills Center coordinator, Linda Zarzana.
I'm going to leave you with some.
Present you with this.
Oh, my goodness. Thank you.
And then I'm going to give you this. And everything is in here. There's a copy of the speech in your bag. I don't know if you want to just say a word. She's so shocked.
I'm speechless. I have to, I see some of my siblings in the back. I have to tell you, I come from a large family. I have 9 siblings, and at least one of them is here. I see a brother-in-law also. Oh, there's my sister also, yes. Okay, my sister is a nurse who graduated from AR's program. One of the things that we did as kids, because we came from a very Italian family, that we always had to, what did we call it? Family hold back when people came over, because there wasn't enough food to go around if we had a guest. But anyway, it was the idea of giving back all the time. And so where's Kirsten Dubray? This is going to go back to ARC STEM program. So thank you very much.
All right, now we're transitioning to acknowledging our new employees. We're going to try something different this semester. How about when we call someone's name, they stand up, and we decide if we want to clap or not? Does that seem okay? We're not going to make you stay standing. Just an idea. No, I really need to apologize to those that were announced in the fall convocation. We didn't welcome you the way we'd like to welcome you at ARC. So thank you for joining us at ARC, and we're going to do better from now on. Okay. So am I doing this right? All right. So for new faculty, Amanda Arnanda, DSPS counselor. Oh, there you go. From McClellan, the Sacramento Regional Public Safety Training Center is Robin Pogue. Welcome, Robin. I'm off a slide, aren't I? I'm sorry. Technology. Interim faculty. All right, I got it now, sorry. Adriana Avila from mathematics. Okay. Ron Duan, mathematics. Ann Lee from engineering. And Myra Mirlis Tejero, counseling. Joshua Rhodes, mathematics. Monique Rogers, nursing assistant. Margaret Travis, English as a second language. Robert Utter, physics. Welcome, Robert. Vasiliki Velilos, accounting. I think that's... Next, we'll have Olga Prizbilev talk about our new staff. Welcome, Olga.
Good morning, everyone. It is my pleasure to welcome you to the Spring 2019 season or semester on behalf of classified staff. I'll do a story like I usually do. So this last fall, I had the pleasure of driving our women's water polo team to a NorCal championship. They won 3rd place. During the trip, I had a lot of time to spend with them. We were together for 3 days. I drove, I think, 8 girls in the car. And they got to know about me, I guess, too. And one of the girls said, "When I grow up, I want to be an Olga." Warms my heart. But I say that not just to show off, but I want to say that a lot of our students look up to each of you. We heard from the awards before, a lot of the students, they want to become just like you. They want to be a classified or a faculty or a management person just like you are. So I want to encourage you to continue doing what you're doing this spring. And if you ever do feel like you are not making enough of a difference or you just don't see the difference that you're making, stop by athletics, stop by Classified Senate. We will shower you with love, with support, and you'll definitely see where your work is actually making a difference. And all right, and now I think it is my pleasure to introduce the new classified members of the ARC community. I'll do faculty as well. Did you announce that one? All right. So our transition, Martin Gomez, EOP&S coordinator. You're good? So classified, when I call your name, if you're here, please stand. All right. Dafir Al-Mamari, custodian maintenance. Victor Barraza, financial aid clerk 2. B. Curiel, SBA Equity Programs and Pathways. Sarah Daniel, Custodian Maintenance. Brianna Garrity, Account Clerk 1. Stacy Gershon, Custodian Maintenance. Satindal Girleth, Financial Aid Clerk 2. Jane Hoff, lead library technician. Sparkle Hostin, SBA Outreach Services. Melissa Lee, Admissions and Records Validator 1. Roxanne Lipina, Outreach Specialist. Marie Kay, Admissions and Records Clerk 2. Daniel Papineau, Instructional Assistant, Campus Computer Lab. Cesar Reyes, Administrative Assistant 1, Center for Leadership and Development. Michael Robinson, SPA Career and Pathways Support Services. Shauna Slater, Clerk 3, Trio Grant. Victor Sednick, Custodian. Kevin Ving, SPA Student Services. All right, and we have a few transitions. William Pridemore, Maintenance Technician. Stephanie Tran, Financial Aid Officer. Erica Westcote, Operations Technician. And Nicole Williams, SPA in Trio Journey. For veterans. Thank you.
Well, now it's my pleasure to introduce the new and transitions of our management team. So, new managers. I figured it out. Thanks, Gary. Chad Funk, Associate Vice President of Student Services. And our interim managers. We have a few of those too every once in a while. Gary Hartley, Interim Dean, Mathematics. Mary Ellen Kraft, Interim Director, Nursing. Nancy Wrights, Interim Dean, Learning Resource Center and Instruction. And that's it. It's all yours, Gary. It's not. Excuse me. Transitions and celebrations. Matthew Blevis, Campus Operations Supervisor. Roger Davidson, Natomas Center Dean. Angela Milano, Fine and Applied Arts Dean. Iselina San Juan, Business Services Supervisor. Brett Sawyer, Student Life Supervisor. Kathy Smith, Hospitality Management Culinary Supervisor. And Jeff Stevenson, the Vice President of Student Services. Now, Gary, it's all yours.
Scott, I know you work so hard to make it easy for us, but sorry, Martine, I really apologize for that. I'm always like a C+ kind of guy up here. All right, so next steps, fun steps, is we get a chance to stretch a little bit and see some different activities. So we're moving to our breakout sessions. So here in the cafeteria, if you want to stay, will be a presentation on the institutional equity plan. In the community rooms, There will be ARC Online 2.0, enterprise level scheduling solution, clarified program pass, and the Wellness Center. And then out in the lounge area out here will be the facilities master plan project. If you want to help yourself to some refreshments and then move to the breakout sessions. And then we are returning back here at 11 o'clock for a presentation. So thank you very much.